Frank Skinner.
Radio.
Hi. It's not the Weekend Podcast. Frank Skinner, Alun Cochrane, Emily Dean, Absolute Radio, and you. Gathered together to, I don't know, chew the fat, I guess.
You started with an almost Jack and Ori style there. Hey,
Yeah,
I've got a story for you guys.
You gotta call people in, you know what I'm saying?
Bring them in.
Lure them in.
Just because we're on their iPod doesn't mean they're listening. I mean, I bet there's someone at this very second now probably searching for their Oyster card, for example. Mm-hmm. Or maybe being chased by a stray dog.
Stray dog?
Yeah, either of those things could be happening. And
Could be
you know,
listening whilst out jogging, couldn't they?
they didn't even be jogging. I mean, they could have just, be on their way to school.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly, suddenly they come round the corner and, it can be a bit frightening. I'll be absolutely straight with you. Speaking of random street occurrences, I went and had a look at the new Yuri Gagarin statue. Have you seen that?
No.
It's on the Mall.
I'm ashamed to say I didn't know there was one.
Oh, it's on the Mall. In, at one end of the Mall, there's Buckingham Palace, and at the other end, there's Yuri Gagarin, the first man in space.
Wow.
And I went to see the statue, and it was a gift from the Russians. You know, like in Christmas in Covent Garden.
Oh, yeah.
You get a Christmas tree from Oslo or something like that.
The Norwegians are good like that.
Yeah, they'll always look after you with a Christmas tree.
Yeah. Standing.
Well, the Russians will send you a heroic statue at the drop of a furry hat. So it's heroic, but it's I'm not saying it's camp, but it's bored. He's the happiest astronaut I've ever seen. He looks like he's doing a little post-landing dance.
Oh.
Maybe he's just enjoying the null gravity element. But worth, because I thought it'd be very stern Russian, I thought it'd be like that.
Yeah.
And he's frolicking. That's what he's doing.
Do you think maybe the sculptor started it as an Eric Morecambe statue and then halfway through realised that he's got a look of Yuri Gagarin?
It could easily be that. Oh, and as I've messed up the suit, I could blend that out into a spacesuit.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Well, if you want to see Yuri Gagarin mid-frolic, have a walk down to the Mall.
I've not been doing this long, but I don't think we've been recommending statues before on the podcast.
No, Frank's Burgers of Calais, one of his favourites.
Oh, Burgers of Calais, I'm all for that. There's nothing jolly about them.
No.
They're full of anguish.
And where would the listener be able to enjoy that?
Well, it's right at the side of the Houses of Parliament in Victoria Park Gardens. Now, of course, I know none of our listeners are in London, but, maybe you come down.
Some of them are.
I imagine there's absolute listeners coming down to the O2 to see the Kaiser Chiefs on a regular basis.
Some coming to see Bloodwind Pig.
That's just my brother. There's only our Keith left of the Bloodwind Pig appreciators.
Do you know our Keith, Ellen?
No.
Well, you will. That's Frank's brother, and all you need to know is that he loves Bloodwind Pig.
Right.
Bloodwin.
Bloodwin.
Don't blood it up.
I thought you were saying three different words there. Blood, wind, pig. I thought it was
not
like
wind. Bloodwin.
I thought
it's a Welsh name.
I thought it was a new version of Earth, Wind and Fire. Or
Can we move on?
Like a tribute.
Anyway, go and see Yuri Gagarin. That's my advice. And if you can catch the Burgers of Calais in Victoria Park Gardens,
make a day of it.
Yeah,
have a statue day.
Yeah, Abraham Lincoln. They've got just by the Houses of Parliament as well. How did he get there?
Oh, tall fellow.
Nelson Mandela in a strange pose. Looks like he's just washed his hands and can't find a towel. You know when you walk around with your hands stuck out like that, feeling if they're going to drip, I don't want it on my clothes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's in that pose. I mean, who'd care about getting droplets on that shirt? Anyway,
same wardrobe as Noel Edmonds.
Yeah. In fact, I used to dress a bit like, in my early career, I used to dress a bit like Nelson Mandela.
Well, the Mandela Edmonds Versace number.
I'd wear a very colourful shirt. I think of Edmonds in a sweater. I don't think I've ever seen...
No, he wears a Versace shirt. It's very Mandela, his wardrobe.
I've never seen Mandela in a jumper. No. I mean, it's not appropriate in South Africa, is it? When I was in South Africa for the World Cup, it was very cold in the evenings.
That's what they were saying on the coverage a lot.
Yeah. And when he came out, when he was brought out on a golf cart, Nelson Mandela, which he was at the final.
Was it?
Yeah.
That's cruel.
He was wearing a big what we used to call a Ruski hat, one of those big, the sort of things that Yuri Gagarin would have been very much at home in. And also, I think if he bought a warm sandwich, sort of thing, he might keep in there, Yuri. I don't know if he took a packed lunch into space. Wasn't up there that long. Anyway, this won't put the bonnet on the baby.
No. You were name dropping earlier.
I wasn't referring to Rob Bonnet, the Five Live sports person. It's a saying, put the bonnet on the baby. Oh, name dropping?
Yeah, no, you were saying something about Darren Brown.
Oh, sorry, I thought you meant Yuri Gagarin.
No, that's a really sad name drop.
Yeah, it is. I don't know, I find him a heroic figure. Anyway, Darren Brown, not Darren.
No, I know, Darren.
Darren Brown, I went to see in his West End show, now closed.
Was it finished?
Oh, dear.
Yeah. But he's going to take it on tour, apparently.
Oh, good.
He's foreseen that.
Yes.
And
He's good.
Yeah, and no posters, nothing. He thinks everyone has got that. They haven't. They need telling.
Yes.
Anyway, I went to that. It's called Svengali, and he makes quite a big point of not saying anything that's happened in the show. You know, keep it secret.
Oh.
But shut up. Because if I went
I can sense this didn't go well.
No, if I went on and said, and at the end of my gig, if I did an hour of comedy and said, don't tell anyone any of these jokes, people would think, you're right. Mind your own business. We've paid. Do what we like. Anyway, I'm not going to give away any big secrets, but there's a bit where he uses a camera on the audience and someone has to get up and he basically reads their mind.
Oh.
And this bloke got up and the camera closed in and had it on a big screen behind Darren. And I was just sitting in front of this bloke. So my face was about 3 foot by 3 foot, because I have quite a square, I don't know if you know, I've got quite a square face.
So you were visible on the big screen?
I look a bit like Brassneck used to be in The Dandy. Was it the Beano? Who knows? Yeah, I was on the big screen, and I thought,
Frank, I'm pleased for you.
This is a difficult moment. Well, it's been a while. But there's nothing, not even a murmur of recognition from the audience. Nothing. No one even. I've never been so hurt. And Darren, he didn't. I thought I saw a slight nod from him.
Right.
But he has a nervous tick, which constitutes a regular nod. So it could have been that. I don't know if you've ever noticed his nod.
I haven't noticed his nod.
I mean, if he was a tic-tac at the race course, I mean, people, oh, God, there'd be some confusion. I wouldn't want to go with him to an auction.
No.
Tell you that. No, he's got a sort of, he can't help himself.
You've had previous with Darren Brown.
Have you?
Oh, yeah, me and Darren Brown go way back.
We've had personal interaction.
I think his son exposed that.
Yeah, I was in that cabinet for a day and a half. They had to use oxyacetylene in the end to get me out. And it was hot in there, I'm telling you. Yeah, they fed me, there was a gap at the bottom, and they put that lasagna, that sheet pasta. Yes. They just put that in, lightly boiled. They couldn't completely boil it. It had to be al dente, else it wouldn't push under. It just crumpled. So, yeah, I lived for a day and a half on al dente sheet pasta, thanks to Mr. Darren Brown, as he likes to call himself. Anyway, so I was with my girlfriend, Kath, who's had... my girlfriend is... she has a lot of illnesses. She currently has a bad neck, a strained buttock muscle, and a septic insect bite. It's like the wheel of illness. You just spin it round and round and see where it stops.
It's like a medieval peasant. She'll send a text, won't she, saying, my liver's failed. Sorry, got to go home. That's the sort of level of illness.
Yes. Yes, she's hypochondriacal. Anyway, she had this neck. It started on Saturday morning. No, Sunday morning it started stiff. By Monday night, and when we went to see Darren, it was jotting out. It was almost like she was making room for another head. It was right out on the shoulder.
So she was leaning across to one side.
Well, it wasn't even a lean. It was like the whole neck was put. The head was level. It was vertical, but it was white. You know when you see Indian dancers and they do that thing when they move their head? If you manage to freeze frame that over the right hand shoulder...
Hollywood happy ending? Bollywood finale scene.
Oh, I thought you said a Hollywood happy
No.
ending. I thought she was trying to avoid it. No, no, it was, she was obstructing the aisle. I mean, we might as well have been in restricted view seats, because it looked like this head was sticking way out on the side, I thought. And that was on camera as well.
Really?
Shouldn't have been. Maybe she was just craning across to get a bit of... So that was...
Get in the picture.
And when she turns with the bad neck, she's gone very Sandy Toksvig.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you've ever noticed. Sandy Toksvig and...
I'm a big fan of her work.
Oh, me too. Sandy Toksvig and Clive Anderson, I think, get their collars starched at the same
Yes.
dry cleaners, and they don't skimp on the starch. So when they turn, it's like turning a picture playing card. If you want them to look round, the whole thing, the whole body has... Have you noticed that? They turn at the waist. Sandy Toksvig and Clive Anderson.
Yeah, they just walk round in a little semicircle, wouldn't they?
Yeah. What they need is a swivel chair, on telly. Give them a swivel chair, but, people, they don't think things through. Anyway, that's how it was with Kath. And, you kind of will he throw in a bit of faith healing? Maybe, but he didn't. And then this was the shock, right? And I'm going to give away a tiny bit of the show, but it's something we've all seen in hypnosis shows before, so it's not a big... Won't spoil it for anyone, because there's a big development on this. This is just the acorn. I'll keep the tree out of it. There's a bit where you have to hold your hand with your fingers tightly together. Outstretched, but tightly together. No gaps. Well, I'm slightly webbed, so I was out of it from the start. But mine's a bit like a baseball mitt. But anyway, you had to hold it very tight like that, and she held it. We all know.
Alan's doing it in sympathy.
Yeah.
How lovely.
Is that right? Just flat?
Yeah, just like that, yeah.
Flat as a pancake.
And then he started saying, oh, tight, very tight, very tight, right? And I mean, I won't say I was alarmed, but I was uneasy. Very tight! And with the little nod going in, like I'm looking, is it me? And then he said, right, now try and separate your fingers. So I did, and I thought, well, sure enough, we'll have people in the audience, I'm sure, who he's paid off. That's what I was thinking. Anyway, there was a bunch of 10 of us went, 10 friends, and one of them, sitting next to me, I looked across, couldn't separate the fingers. I mean, a woman I know. So not a paid accomplice. And then he said, right, I'm going to call that arm up. I'm going to call it, come on, right. And her arm started going up. She couldn't do anything about it. Oh, well, this is how Nazi Germany started, I thought to myself. But, yeah. And so after the show, it's a bit... when you see other people doing it, you always think, well, it's fun. But when it's somebody you're with...
you know.
Yeah.
So is she a particularly sort of suggestible creature?
I wouldn't say she was. I'd say she was... she's quite an independent woman. Works in the fashion industry. What does that tell you? Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. She sells scarves on Camden Market. No, she doesn't. She's got a... No, I won't say... I don't want to identify her, because people might think she... But anyway, when we got outside, we all stood chatting. No one mentioned this.
Really?
We'd all been staring. No one mentioned it. It was like it was a bit too freaky. And I said, well, hold on, what happened with the weird hand thing? And she went, I don't know what happened there. Completely weird. I just don't know what happened. I couldn't separate the fingers. The arm was going up. I stopped with it. And I thought, that is a bit scary, isn't it? How do you explain that? And there was a bit of resentment in the group. Like, whose side are you on? Are you with us or are you with Darren Brown? Hey, why don't you go back with your mate in the dressing room? It all went a bit like that. You can see, it's like when the beautiful tropical bird escapes from the cage, it goes into the garden and it's torn apart by the sparrows. They don't like difference, people.
You were still reeling, if you don't mind me saying, Frank. I think you were probably still reeling from the big screen snub.
Well, I was feeling bad about it. And also, 2 cars had to swerve to avoid Kat's head. It was halfway across the nearby lane. But it's made me rethink the whole Darren Brown thing. Perhaps he's got the, powers.
He's good.
Well, it's worked with us. He's done some great work with us. He correctly identified the name of my first boyfriend as Barnaby Scott Hughes.
What?
Pretty good.
How on earth? ... Really?
Yeah.
He wasn't the bloke who nicked your diary out of the out your handbag.
No, he wasn't.
Darren Brown, I mean. That would help, wouldn't it?
His mother is Shula in the Archers Fact Fans.
Who, Darren Brown?
No, Barnaby Scott Hughes.
Oh, OK. Oh, I knew that. Obviously, I knew that. Well, you know, you can't go and see him. He's on tour. Go and see what you think.
Well, is he not in London then? No.
No, he's finished now. He finished on Saturday.
Did it? Okay. Did it?
Did it what?
Well, I was just going to say, did he mean for it to end so suddenly, or...?
Oh, I think so.
Oh, OK, good.
He knows what's coming, let's face it.
Yeah, he does.
You can't. I find it impossible to surprise him. I took a brown paper bag there. Went bang, he didn't even... Only nodded. But that could have been...
Now, Frank, there was some rather sad news this week. Wurzel.
Is it absolute? Oh, no, it's
No,
not.
Wurzel, Frank.
I thought we'd been bought by Rupert Murdoch. He's on the lookout for a new project.
Wurzel, the legendary Motorhead guitarist, he passed away.
Oh, that is sad. But can I say something we didn't say on last Saturday's show? Is the Murdoch thing not the best news story that's ever happened in the history of news stories?
It is fun.
People have been so horrible about him because it's all gloves are off and people, all that resentment, people have been too frightened.
It's been building
I bet
up.
He's got a big list of, mate, when I get back.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, you are in trouble. But it reminded me, I went to see Jaws when it was at the cinema, when it first came out. And when the shark died at the end, everybody stood up and applauded. And it's a bit like that, the shark's dead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Long live the shark.
Oh, man, it's not dissimilar to Mussolini hanging upside down with his brains hanging out, I thought. Where were we?
I'm not sure about James either with that marine haircut. It's not working for me, that.
No.
James Murdoch.
No, I know you mean.
Don't wear Marine's haircut at News Corp. It's all wrong.
No, but I think he's a masculine character. Oh.
Well, he definitely is. So, Frank, anyway,
Yeah.
from the Murdochs to Wurzel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Wurzel, the former
Motorhead guitarist. And apparently, Lemmy said something brilliantly dated, which I loved. He said, Godspeed.
Oh,
Godspeed.
brilliant.
Yeah, which I once had a DJ say, wrapping up a talkie disco. He went, Godspeed, everyone. But
What
yes,
does it mean exactly?
well, I thought you
Godspeed-
might be able to throw some light on the subject.
I think Godspeed at the end of a disco is a kind of a spiritual version of "Can you move outside now, please?" Isn't it?
Safe journey home.
It's a suggestion that God is going to provide some sort of acceleration for these people. It seems unlikely. He's not WD-40.
Godspeed you
They were a good
across
band.
the River Styx or whatever.
Is it WD-40? Have I made that up?
No,
WD-40. No, WD-40 is a
lubricant.
Yes, a
Yeah,
lubricant.
that's what I
Yeah.
meant.
Very good, Frank.
Increase the yeah. So,
Frank,
oh,
apparently
God, I'm so
when
confused.
Wurzel died...
Can I ask, is the guitarist with the Wurzels called Motorhead? Seems a bit odd to be named after another band.
Great to be called Wurzel, though, isn't
Oh.
it?
That's not his real name, Frank. It's because he looked like a scarecrow.
Is
That's
that
why
right?
they called
Oh,
him
he was
Wurzel.
named after-
Oh, I didn't know. That would account for the fact that Ronnie Wood was terrified of him. Don't remember him telling me that. Yeah, so,
He was
well, I'm sorry to hear about the death of Wurzel, obviously.
he was pouring a Guinness and cracking a joke when he went.
Well, that killed him. That's a worry, isn't it?
Yeah, he couldn't multitask.
No, I've heard of people dying from multitasking before. It's not easy. It's all right for the girls. How old was Wurzel, do we know?
Yeah, Wurzel was 61.
Oh,
Frank.
well. That's a good one-day innings.
It's all right.
Yeah. You know, a quick... It depends on the run rate. But say if it's 61 off, say, 70 balls, that's all right. We'll look that up.
Cricket analogies.
Yeah, there's not enough cricket analogies on this station. If I've said that once, I've said it twice.
That's quite a nice way to go, though, really.
Pouring a Guinness. It's nice, yeah. There's anticipation of something.
Well, I suppose you'd say he was doing two things he loved best, being witty and getting, drunk. Yeah. No, but I imagine if he's in Motorhead, he's a bit of a, character.
You'd think.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing, how would you like to go? You used to have conversations like that at school when death seemed so far away.
Yeah.
Yeah, those chats sort of slow down a bit as life gets on.
Yeah, I'm less keen on them. Yeah,
Now they take on a more practical nature, those conversations.
I mean, you get your dream death, You dream. I mean, I've always thought it'd be lovely to fall from the London Eye. from the top of the London Eye.
Oh, Frank.
And land on Anne Robinson. And just that, you imagine the sound should be, that's how that'll be her last death.
There'd probably be the sound of plastic breaking, wouldn't
Yeah,
there? She's had a lot of
the face would be undamaged. It should be completely. It'd be just. It would look like someone had dropped a V for Vendetta mask onto 15 pounds of mincemeat. The face would be completely untouched. Yeah. I'd like to think that she couldn't speak at the end, but she managed to wink. What if her last words were goodbye? And then the horrible wink. And I don't know if you've ever noticed, if you crank your volume up, when she goes goodbye, you can hear for the wink. So it's the first half of the head is machinery. Anyway, I quite like to die like that. I think that'd be all right. I know it's pretty unlikely. On a more practical front, I wouldn't mind inhaling my own vomit. I've always thought.
Frank.
I've always thought the nice thing about that is self-contained. Do you know what I mean?
It's a horrible way to go.
Oh, what? No, I've always thought that'd be all right.
No, I don't like that. Jimi Hendrix, I don't feel so good, man, or whatever he said. I don't like that.
No, it's... well, when they say you can't take it with you, they're wrong about vomit.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's all right, because it's quick and, you don't need assistance.
Is it quick, though? I thought it was akin to drowning. I thought that was basically what it was, drowning.
But drowning in my own self is something that, in a way, I've been doing my whole life.
The choking aspect concerns me as well.
The choking aspect, they were a band and a half. Yeah. Their second album, admittedly. You remember their second album, Asphyxia? It was a falling away of standards. I think we'd agree. Yeah, how would you go?
I would... Well, I think what I'd do is... Where I'd like to be, ideally, is either Denville Hall or Brinsworth House, which are both retirement homes for performers and actors. I know that because that's where my mum's going. They're great alumni. Charlie Drake. And Alan Freeman. Fluff Freeman was there.
Ooh, not off.
Richard O'Sullivan's there. Thora Hurd was there as well. Brinsworth
Brilliant.
House. How great would that be?
Yeah.
And then you could go, they drink a lot there. The bar's very busy there.
Old actors, it's going to be.
Old actors love a drink.
And you'd like to die there?
Yeah.
But that's not really a method of death, is it?
Well, it is. No, I'd like to die in my sleep. But what I would want, Frank, is I do want an audience. I do want to be surrounded. So I want
an audience
warning.
With. I wouldn't mind dying on an audience with. Preferably spontaneous human combustion. But if you could, you'd be at least dying knowing that you were going to take YouTube by storm.
Oh, yeah.
If I walked on, I was just having a bit of banter with Philip, what's he called? Ian Beale.
Oh, yeah.
What's he called? What's his real
Adam
name?
Woodyard.
Yeah, I was just having a bit of banter with Adam Woodyard, and suddenly there's a bit of a cracking, and I've burst into flames. That would be on YouTube forever. And Adam Woodyard would consider himself one hell of a lucky guy, because, as usual, he'd gone in on the coattails of someone else's big moment.
Emily and I just in the audience muttering, I knew he shouldn't have worn nylon for his big show.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be terrible. I'd like to die on the same day as Jasper Carrott, just to see how the Birmingham newspapers handled it.
Yes.
God, that'd be a dilemma. There'd have to be a split page, front split page.
They'd do that.
But who gets the left and who gets the right? Imagine my agent had been there like a ton of bricks.
He's all over it. He's on the phone already, just in case. I was on a plane recently that was struck by lightning, and Nicky Haslam, the Society interior designer.
I don't.
Well, exactly. He's not quite famous, but he's sort of, a few people know him. And it did occur to me, who would get top billing out of me and him?
I had that on a plane I was with Tom Stoppard on a plane. And I don't know what happened. There was a big bang on the plane. And I actually said to him, I bet you were worried about the billing as we got off.
Did he laugh?
Nothing.
Tough crowd.
Yeah, exactly.
Tough crowd.
Tom Stoppard. Yeah. Stop laughing, I call him. Tom, stop laughing. Makes me think. I wonder who he want to. Anyway, he's still... yeah, so that's... I wouldn't mind... If I was going to do the Flames thing, maybe on the One Show as well.
Oh, yeah.
That's
time.
good.
Boom.
If I went on the One Show, I'd want a massive explosion. I'd like to think I'd taken the One Show with me. I think if you die, if there was a sudden moment where the blood hit the camera, I don't think they'd be able to go back to the One Show ever again, because people it'd have bad association.
You can't go from that to flat pack furniture or something like that. That's the joy of magazine television, isn't it?
But I can imagine, if you imagine my funeral corsage going slowly down the road and then passing a job centre with Alex and Matt standing outside asking for soup. That would be the aftermath of what had gone on there on the One Show that fateful night.
I had a strange occurrence this week, by the way.
Well, I'm on the edge. I'm not on the edge of my seat, but I'm nearer the front than the back.
Well, I had a food hassle. Everything's about food to me. I love it. I had my first kiwi fruit for ages this week, and just as it was occurring to me that it was the first time I'd had a kiwi fruit for a long time, I'd cut it in half, and I was going at it with a teaspoon. And I twisted it and spattered this kiwi fruit everywhere, all across the kitchen.
The green juice.
It looked like the place had been slimed. It was disgusting.
I don't see how you managed that.
I don't know how I managed it, but it was a particularly explosive piece of fruit, let me tell you. And it took some cleaning, it really did. And, like sometimes you eat a cherry tomato. Do you ever pop a cherry tomato in? And when you bite it, it flies out, like bits fly out.
Yellow bits. And then they harden very quickly.
No, but I don't do that because
You've never
of the
had a cherry tomato?
Of course I've had a cherry tomato, but why do you think you got lips for?
I mean, have you ever had one pop across?
Yeah, but you pop, but I put it completely in my mouth, so when it pops, it's in control
Frank,
conditions.
Don't take this the wrong way, but you do admit this yourself. There might be areas between the gaps in your teeth for them to lodge. You have said that yourself.
I agree. I know.
There are pit stops in your mouth.
I'm no stranger to a nostalgic tomato pit, that's been in there maybe a month.
You just have a snack on it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, anything that explodes, I put it completely in my mouth, so it explodes.
Emily's gone.
It is. It's a controlled explosion. That's what it is.
I think.
So, for example, with a kiwi, I don't slice a kiwi. I tear it in. I go with.
You tear it? What sort of an animal are you? Like a bear eating fruit?
Yeah, that's it. Oh, and also I find that when I pick a pawpaw or a prickly pear and I get a sore paw, next time. Anyway, so I just
explain how you eat it. So you rip it.
I drag the thumbnail down it about halfway. I do, and then once you've broken the skin for about an inch, you can prise it apart. Right, and then what I do, to avoid any spillage, because the skin's pretty sturdy, that'll hold it in, I put the whole half in my mouth, so there's an airlock with the lips. So whatever squirts will go into my mouth, and then I just squeeze the skin, and it just.
So you're left with a sort of caveman's loincloth.
Yeah, that's right. I'm left with a caveman's loincloth.
Sucking the fruit out of a kiwi fruit skin.
I don't really suck it. I sort of mainly squeeze it. I just squeeze it, and the whole half just falls into the mouth.
Like one of nature's sports gels, like you see them at Wimbledon.
Exactly.
Giving it a squish.
Exactly like that. I'd love to take it. One of my many, if I was a famous tennis player, is to do a kiwi between games. Just like that.
Oh, well,
I'm with Alan, I have to say, because I do knife through the heart and then teaspoon. Always teaspoon.
Is still kiwi
but they're a bit Russian roulette, the kiwi.
Yeah.
Because either they're quite fleshy and tasteless or quite tart and firm.
Some people eat the skin even. Some people.
The caveman's loincloth,
no.
You don't want to eat that.
No, I don't want to eat that.
Doesn't mean you should. No.
If I was eating them at Wimbledon, I'd have two in my left hand at the same time, like pre-service. Yeah.
Just give one back to a ball boy.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, maybe bounce it a couple of times. No, that wouldn't work. But yeah, that's how I. Although the other week, I had to change not only my shirt but also my trousers post pomegranate.
Oh.
The whole thing. I mean, it was. Oh man, it went everywhere. And pomegranate juice, it really lingers. As a child, I would take 2 hours over a pomegranate. I used to eat them with a pin.
Yeah.
And take out each individual, whatever you call those things. Let's call them the eyes. Each individual eye. Are they seeds?
Are they seeds? I don't know.
Yeah, but I wasn't after the seed, I was after its sweet encasement. Yeah.
You see, Frank, I find with the mango, I love a mango. But I do
You won't
find...
let a mango, I know that much.
But I do find with a mango, when you get through to what I call the inner sanctum,
Yeah.
the pit area,
Yeah.
pit stop area, it's like a clavicle bone in there. Have you
It
ever
is.
come across that? White,
Yeah.
hard.
It's very, I mean, the bone is...
Yes. You can't get through it. I've tried to cut it before.
Well, my girlfriend's a great chewer of the mango
The clavicle.
seed. Yeah, she goes straight. You know when you see a dog's got a flea-ridden back, and it'll lean back. And it'll do, I can't do this on radio, but it'll sort of the teeth go like that, like it's really like a. She does that with it, like she was trying to take a flea off her back of an animal. And she gets it right down to, I call it the knot, the inner mango.
Does she?
Yeah, the mango knot, I think that's what it's called. But with the kiwi, I find sometimes with kiwis they're very sturdy, but sometimes they're quite squidgy. So when you eat...
Russian roulette element.
So when you eat them, you got to be prepared... Oh, sorry, you mean the fruit? I was talking about the bird. Oh, no, this has been a terrible misunderstanding. Yeah, I take the thumb down its waist, and then you can get the whole entrail out with one. You just have to part the front legs.
Frank.
It's amazing.
Frank, do you find... Now, where do you guys stand on shellfish? Because I'll tell you what, I find that quite tricky sometimes. I'll tell you what I don't like, is that in order to eat, let's say, a prawn or a lobster, you have to sometimes assemble so much paraphernalia, sort of Pete Doherty's bedsit style, the finger bowl, the dirty napkin, the knives.
And knives
I
that
can't
you've
be
never
doing with
seen.
it.
Little
Yeah, never seen
metal
that.
implements
It's a lot
that
of
look
work.
like if Barbie had to make her way to some sort of jungle enclosure, sort of thing she might need to get through the undergrowth.
It's more of a work than a meal.
Yeah.
It's
It is.
more
It's
like
like
hard
work.
graft than a snack, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I've said before how my dad would eat a whole crab on a Saturday afternoon watching the horse racing on the telly and finish off the smaller claws with a hair grip. No, that to me isn't. That's not eating. That's a.
Would he?
Yeah, that's the
Would he give it a
krypton
rinse
factor.
in a glass of hot water first.
There
or
wasn't a
just
thing left on it. He would the tiniest.
I meant the hair grip. That sounds unhygienic to eat crab with a hair grip.
Well, what for the crab eater or the hair restrainer?
The hair thing.
Yeah,
People don't like even brushed hair in the kitchen, do they?
no. Well, I agree. I don't like any hair in the kitchen at all. I only allow reptiles on the work surfaces.
Frank, where do you
Can I
stand
say I made
on
that up?
cream eggs? Because I find them quite exhausting as well.
Cadbury's cream egg.
Oh, it's very poorly designed. It's all or nothing. I don't like food like that. I like to take my time, gradualist style.
Yeah.
Whereas that, you've got no choice. You've just got to pop the whole thing in.
Oh no, I don't agree with that.
Don't you? It's
Surely.
a nightmare to eat, and the foil is far too weak. The strength of it's all wrong.
I'll tell you what I'd like to take one on in an egg cup and actually slice the top off a cream egg and eat it with a spoon and maybe stick toast in it and
Perhaps at
really
Wimbledon.
give it its full egg respect. I don't like cream eggs. They're too sweet.
Yeah, exactly, because of the poor design.
Also, I think they don't make them. They've gone off the market, I think.
Oh no.
No, they're still. I saw them in my local.
Oh, there's a few
Texaco only
left.
recently.
There's a few left, but I think the factory was recently purchased by the Euro lottery winners. And they're no longer available to the public. I'll tell you what, fish. Now, fish... My girlfriend, who has about 5 eating disorders, various, a league table of eating disorders that come and go. She will love a whole fish.
Really?
I mean, a whole head, tail.
With eye on plate.
Yeah, but I mean that's work. Eating one of those fish. I mean, I love that moment when you lift the skeleton out.
Oh, and you create the...
Tom and Jerry style.
So Tom and Jerry, isn't it?
It's really good. It's
Yeah.
really satisfying.
But
moment, that.
I can't be. I end up trying to, pick. It's like trying to eat through barbed wire. I mean, the fish is saying, "Get off! Look, I've got my own defence system here," and oh man, it just goes on forever. That's why I like chip shop fish, where they've taken not only have they taken all the bones out, but they've put it in a handy envelope. of batter so bits don't fall off. You know, that's how you want to eat fish.
You really can see why that caught on, God.
Oh, God. Is it not the best thing ever?
Great. It's the... It's actually the worst jealousy that I ever feel is when someone walks past with fish and chips. There's a peculiar jealousy that is fish and chips jealousy.
Well, do you know that happened to me only yesterday? It wasn't actually fish and chips. It was just a cone of chips.
Yeah.
And I was walking through a place called Endell Street, just up from Covent Garden. There's a nice chip shop there. And this bloke, and also what he'd done... He'd created vinegar vapour, because he'd put the vape...
Oh, I love the vapour.
The steam was bringing the... That was a Tom and Jerry moment. I felt the back legs just lift off the... Have you seen my back legs? I felt my legs. My legs just lift slightly off the ground. And I was nostril-led towards the cone.
It's hard not to just snatch it out their hand like and
Oh,
start
man,
eating
it smelt so...
Like
But you
a
couldn't have
bear.
had one. You
No.
couldn't have... If I'd have had one, I'd have had to have killed him for the rest. Oh, it is the best. I tell you, if I won the Euro lotteries, that would be my first port of call, would be that chip shop.
I think it'll be theirs too.
They were there 3 times a week as it was.
I think they've bought that as well. They've bought that and they've rebuilt it brick by brick inside the cream egg factory. And then they've just bricked up the doors. They ain't going nowhere. And no one's
great.
coming in.
A bit like when Del Boy used to have a bar in the corner of the living room. They've got a chip shop built in their house. That'd be real money, wouldn't it?
I think what they do is there's an enormous conveyor belt, and it's like 12, a row of 12 unwrapped eggs, and then like 2 plates of fish and chips, and they bungee jump from the rafters, and they come down and plot their hands behind their back, plot them with the mouth off that. It just depends. Sometimes it's an egg, sometimes it might be a mouthful of mushy peas. To see how it goes. I saw one, the wife come down, and she managed to eat an egg and a pickled onion on the same visit. Oh, you can keep your total wipeout.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.